It was the correct decision, and it was a hard-fought case, but I think the court was very perceptive, and we prevailed.
Who is the judge?
Judge Williams.
Judge Williams. Okay.
House Jane, go back in trial. All right, so if you're opportunity to put on your side of the case, I'm ready to hear from you.
你的机会来说，案件来。
我很抱歉，早上抱歉，因为上午我被诬告，我觉得很愤怒。
Your Honor, first I apologize. This morning I was very angry because I was sued by somebody that I don't know.
Okay. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Now's your opportunity to tell me anything you think I should know.
OK，
现在是你的机会来告诉我，你希望让我知道什么
？OK，上午我们双方都说了，从来不认识。
In the morning we both say each other, we do not know each other.
呀，从来没有通过电话。
We never make any phone call.
从来没有见过双方的范面。
Yeah, we never see we face each other.
所以我们根本就不知道什么就是脸、照片什么之类，根本就不知道。
We don't recognize any photo, something like that.
So， 我现在想问的话，你看这个东西怎么能证明什么时候是我做的
？So my question is, like something like this, how can they prove that it's posted by me?
When 什么时候
When?
做什么？我用什么计算机？
What computer I posted? I used to post this information.
为什么我要做这个？
Why should I do that?
我根本跟他不认识。
I do not know.
现在你看下面根本这个字像打字贴上去的。
See, in the bottom of my name, anybody can type in.
根本下面没有，如果是打印的，下面会有 link。
Yeah, if it's an authentic copy, in the bottom should have a link.
呀，所以说他们说叫我怎么认识这个人，根本我也不认识他。
They ask me whether I know this guy. I do not know this guy.
早上给我有一个人的那个照片，我也不认识。
They showed me a photo this morning. I do not know that person either.
我整个他们家庭family，我根本就不认识。你说我怎么会做这个事情
I don't know any family member of this person. So how do I know them?
我在哪里呢 ？Rockville， 他们家在芝加哥，我不知道怎么他找到我。
I'm living in Rockville, Maryland. They are in Chicago. We don't know each other.
That's okay.
首先这
Sitting
条
kids is out. My college are being held. We're sitting kids.
OK，
教学我的同事帮
好，你看第二张，他连图片都没有，我也不知道从哪弄来。
Even there's not any photo, I don't know where they get it from.
所以说我现在真的很不明白，他找到我，为什么找到我？
So I know nothing about it. Why they found me? I don't know.
如果我跟他们认识，我可能威胁他，我从来都不认识。
If I knew them, I might threaten them. But I never know them.
我是受过高等教育的，我在约翰哈普金大学有 master degree。
Yeah, I got a good education. I got my master from Johns Hopkins.
我从那个西密西根大学法学院毕业。
I graduated from law school in
West Michigan.
West Michigan.
我怎么会写这些东西呢？
So how can I post something like that?
这个像根本没有受过教育的人写的东西。
Yeah, this is written by somebody who doesn't have any education.
Anything else you want to tell me?
你还有什么要跟我说的？
我想就是这么多，他给我这个证据就这么多，能指控我。
That's all the evidence they try to sue me.
Do you have any questions for him, counsel?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Zhang, let's see. Is it your testimony that you did not write and post these blogs?
对，刚才你做的时候，你没有写过那些东西，也没有放在网上。没有。No.
And do you have an explanation for why your name is on them?
那你怎么解释你的名字在上面呢？
你看看这个名字是怎么弄上去的？
You see this name? How did they put in?
你如果认为是真实的话，你可以到 computer 里面检查一下有没有我的。
So if you think it's authentic, you can go to computer to see whether you can find this page and do that.
So your testimony is that somebody else put your name at the bottom of these narratives.
所以你的意思就是你的名字是某些人放上去的。
我根本不知道，我都不认识这个 lady。
I don't know this lady.
我从来都不认识她。
I never know her.
Is it your testimony that somebody else put your name at the bottom of these statements?
我意思是说某些人把你的名字放在那个信息下面，是吗？
这是有可能，但是我不知道。
It's possible, but I don't know.
Well, how did your name get there then if you don't know?
如果你不知道你的名字怎么会到你呢？
我怎么知道呢？
How do I know?
我这个人都不认识啊。
I don't know her.
Your testimony is that you didn't put it there, right?
我没有啊。
你的意思说你没有把你的名字放在？
对呀，你现在可以上computer 检查一下有没有我的名字。
Yeah, you can check. If you can check from computer, find this page.
Is it your testimony that you didn't put your name on the bottom of those narratives?
我没有。
刚才你说的说你没有把你的名字放在这里，是吗？
没有。
No.
That is your testimony?
这是你的
是的
什么 ？Yes.
是的。
Then who did?
那谁放？
我怎么知道呢
？How do I know?
你要证明呢？
You are the one who.
我都不认识他，我怎么证明呢
？How do I know?
Do you have any enemies?
你有敌人吗？
我怎么可能有敌人呢？我在美国受的教育，我法学院毕业，我在Johns Hopkins我有 Master degree， 我为什么有这么多敌人呢
？Why I have so many enemies? I graduated from Johns Hopkins University. I also graduated from law school.
Well, I've heard this a number of times. Let me ask you. Are you admitted to practice by the highest court of any jurisdiction in this country?
我上午已经给你看了。没有啊，这是我的 law school 的，这是我的 USPTO 的。
I show you. This is my degree from law school, and this is from the United States Patent and Trademark Office.
这是我的第四级。
This is my business card.
你看看，你想看看
？If you want to see, you can see.
Excuse me, I'm not interested.
我对这个不感兴趣。
Are you admitted to practice law before the highest court in any jurisdiction in this country?
我没有，
你在
从来没有。
那里就说实习过法律方面工作吗 ？No, never.
我从来没有。
No, never.
Thank you. Now, my understanding of your testimony was that you said, if I knew them, I might threaten them. Do you remember saying that?
你刚才你这好像你说，如果你认识他们或者分析他们，是吗？
我从来都不认识他，我为什么要分析他们
I never know them. Why did you share them?
你找的人可能是别的人，不是我。
Maybe you found the wrong guy.
My question is, do you recall testifying that if you knew them, you might threaten them?
我从来没上午我都没有说过。
你如果认识他们，你就会威胁他们，你这样说。
我从来没有说过，上午我说过吗？以前都没有说过啊。
This morning did I say that? No, never.
我们从来都不认识啊，你今天才认识
I never
我。
know her. Only today you might know me.
Is the cell phone number is there? Is here? Is the John? His cell phone, we can call him. This is his cell phone number, so we can show something.
What is your cell phone number, sir?
你的手机号码说法。
手机号码，很多人把我的手机号码放在网上，但是我的手机号码我从来没有打电话给他。
You might find my cell phone number in the website, but I never use my cell phone to call her.
What is the cell phone number?
我的这张号码在我的 business 卡上面有。
In my business card.
上面。Yeah.
Well, the number is handwritten here, 443-889-1472.
这个手机号码是手写的，443-889。
这是我的号码，对啊，但是
It's my cell phone number, yes.
但是不一定就是我放的，对不对？别的人把我的号码放进去，因为我的 必死的卡会给很多人了。
It might not be me who put my cell phone number there, but anybody can put my cell number there, right?
I see.
Because I distribute my business card to many
是
people.
啊，我必死的卡这边很多啊，我
I
给很多人了。
give away to many people.
So it's your thank you. It's your testimony that not only did somebody put your name on this document,
我不知道，
but that somebody put your cell phone number on it as well.
所以你这是你做的吗？你说别人不但把你的名字放在了那个网上，把你的手机号码也放在了网上。
对啊，因为他拿到我的必死的卡，可以看到我的名字，也看到我的。
Yes, anybody got my business card, they can get my name, they can get my cell number.
但是我的driver license 上面只有2个字啊，没有 Steven 呢。
However, in my driver license, only 2 characters, no Steven.
Hold on 1 second. What's wrong?
Is there a Anna Cecilia Diaz here?
All right. Go ahead, please.
继续。
你看看，我的上面根本就有2个字。
See, the driver license only 2 characters.
对啊，我必须得卡，他拿我必须得卡，他把我3个名字全写上面，我怎么会知道这是我的呢？
business card, 3 characters.
I want to, excuse me, you through?
Yeah.
I want to ask you, you are aware in denying that you sent these narratives, you posted them. You're aware that you're under oath here.
我要提醒你的，你是宣誓的。如果你说你写的那东西，如果你说你没有写的话，你宣布是的，知道吗？
我宣布是，我从早上到下午，我都在这边。我说我从来不认识这个
那
lady。
天是 I not know. I say from this morning till now, I never know this lady.
I know you don't know her.
我知道你不认识。
Thank you. I have no other questions.
谢谢，我没别的问题。
All right. Thank you very much. Sir, you can have a seat. Any other evidence you wish to
你
introduce?
还有什么证据要
我说
给我们吗？
就这个姓名的问题啊。
什么有什么证据要给他们？
有。
So let me say this. I know you want to show me your card,
我知道。
your ID. I get that you want to show me those things. The most important thing for me is to hear the words that are coming out of your mouth, the way that you're saying them, and then if they're bolstered by these documents, that's fine. So that was your opportunity to be cross-examined. So to make sure there's no other evidence
现在
you
是
want.
你人家调查提问的。
可以。
I forgot the number. Hold on.
I didn't know that.
El de 4. Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
Sir, anything else you want to tell me before I make my decision in this matter?
所以你还有什么，在我做对这个案件判决之前，有什么还要告诉我的？
首先第一条，我跟他们，我从早上到下午我都宣誓，我从来不认识他，也不认识这个监理。他说上午要我证词，我说我从来不认识这些人。
Okay, first, from this morning till now, I'm on oath. I always say I don't know this lady. I don't know that gentleman either.
Have a seat.
请坐。
This is the end of the case.
这个案件的结束。
If you want to give a closing argument, you can.
如果你们还有一个结语要说，
Unlike opening statements, you're not entitled to a closing argument. But as a courtesy, I will let you do so.
开场白一样，不是
You have the burden.
可以说可以不说。
Counsel, anything you want to tell me?
律师还有什么要说的吗？
Your Honor,
法官。
the respondent
被告
has come into court
向法庭承认，
and he has said that somebody else
他也说了，
put his name
他在你
on these communications
在这个交流
posted that also have his cell phone
它
number
有他的手机号码
contained within them.
在里面。
But he says anybody can do that.
他说任何人都可以这么做。
Now anybody can go over and put his specific cell phone
可
number.
以把他的出手机号码。
That there's no proof that you actually provided me either in the exhibits or the translations. And said it actually came from him. That they don't know each other.
他们都并不认识。
And so how would you possibly know?
你怎么知道？
And if by extending, how's there by preponderance of evidence he said these things?
亵渎的。
And then let's talk about if they're really threats.
是他会亵渎。
And then we'll talk about what the Supreme Court said about posts. And then we'll talk about what the statute says about whether or not it has to be emailed or posted enough under the plain language of the statute. Those are all the things that I've been focused on this whole time. I know it seems like I've been distracted, but I have a sharp mind.
I'm well aware of that. The fact of the matter is that Ms. Stiebel has come in here. This has gone on for a month and a half, she testified. It has involved her child and her husband. These communications have been sent to the Chinese community, as she testified. The respondent, Mr. Zhang, is a member of that community. The only support for his case is his denial that he put his name on this. The court had an occasion to observe Mr. Zhang's behavior this morning in court, and I would suggest that there's a certain degree of lack of control in Mr. Zhang's personality, and the court would have to believe his denial that he posted these. The court would have to believe that his cell phone number found their way into these communications. And I want to respectfully submit that his testimony is simply not believable.
Right. So let's say he sent them. Say I believe you. And he actually sent them. Are there threats?
Oh, Your Honor, I've avoided reading in open court some of this, but I'm going to take the liberty of referring to a few passages that I've underlined. Ms. Stiebel sells her body to earn R&D. I would say that's the mobby.
Where are you reading from?
I'm reading from the translation of the document that was filed in the petition and introduced in evidence this morning.
Number 2?
It is the typed document.
Yep, I'm there.
Yeah.
Which paragraph?
The first paragraph.
Give me someone who's a whore in a dark Chinese restaurant and sells her body to earn
Ramabi, I think that is
Okay.
Chinese currency.
Okay.
For jobless pervert, you are a big whore selling your body to foreigners and blank your mom, etc. I would certainly deem those words as threatening words, harassing words. I cannot imagine any other interpretation for them. The next paragraph has its first sentence.
Well, these are definitely profane words. What's the threat?
Oh, I think from those words, there can be they have a threatening content to them. I don't know of anybody that would not feel threatened by these kinds of words being uttered at them and published in the community.
Okay, go ahead, Ken.
I think the next paragraph says you are a fake professional blank blank in the first line.
Well, we're going to make the record. I know you don't want to say the words. I'll say them for you. You're a fake professional at licking at anus.
Yes.
Ha, 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 ha.
You are a stupid con artist. I simply do not, I can't interpret those as anything but harassing and threatening words, Your Honor.
Well, I may agree with you that they're harassing. I was looking for the threat. It didn't say I'm going to come over there and beat you up. It didn't say I'm going to find your parents. What about these pictures, though, of
The pictures of the daughter, that certainly comes under the communication, the computer portion of the statute that I cited to the court earlier as
what, can you tell me the statute for that?
Yes, I can.
That's the fourth thing now.
I can.
Is it criminal law 3805?
It is, Your Honor.
All right, so that talks about electronic mail.
That's right.
And so were these emailed to her?
No, but B,
Coverage,
excuse me, B talks about the,
So this statute is tricky. I don't want to walk you into it without.
no, I know it's tricky.
Okay, the statute is tricky because everybody assumes that it applies to stuff on the internet, and it does not.
Oh.
It applies to emails or messages sent to somebody. And so if it was just posting, she saw it, I'm not sure that statute applies.
I'm talking to A2. That is the electronic communication means the transmission of information, data, or communication. And if going further, it says a person may not use interactive computer service to maliciously engage in the course of conduct that inflicts serious emotional distress on the minor. What is this man doing posting this child or this minor in the light of the language that he has used about the family? One doesn't picture post a picture of a minor after language like this without, at a minimum, implying a threat.
What's the evidence of intent to harass or cause serious emotional distress? Did you talk about the minor and the pros?
He did not.
Okay. You just posted a picture?
He posted the picture.
information where I need to
talk to you.
All right. So what about these? What does the Supreme Court say about these threats on social media?
The Supreme Court has said, as quoted by the Maryland Court of Appeals and adopted by the court, that the speech,
What case is this? I'm sorry.
yes, the Maryland Court of Appeals case is called Independent Newspapers versus Brody. It is at 407 Maryland 415.
What year?
It was decided in 2009. It was, I'm sorry, the September term of 2008. The language.
Thunder, but what did the courts, what did the Supreme Court say in Alanis v. State, Alonis v. State back in 2015? The
Court of Appeals quoted from the Supreme Court.
Well, this happened in 2015, so I couldn't have quoted. That's fine. I'm not trying to.
No, I'm sorry, I just couldn't.
No, it's okay. You're citing a case that came out before the Supreme Court made it clear about social media and what has to be the intent behind it. And the name of that case is Alonis v. U.S. I'm at the Supreme Court's opinion now. It came out in 2015, and it was an amazing case for us young folks who were all wrapped up in social media. And it says that people can post really horrible things, but there's no really an intent to cause harm, or that they don't make some affirmative act toward it, then we can't believe it because of the nature of social media. And that's the court in 2015.
But it's not entitled to First Amendment protection under a prior restraint rule. What we're asking the court to do is issue an order that is effectively a prior restraint of posting this Chaucerian language against.
I love Chaucer too.
Against this family. We're asking a cessation of it. And this is not redeeming speech. It is not entitled to First Amendment protection. The court is not in any way by issuing such an order, impinging upon the respondent's First Amendment rights. There isn't any First Amendment right to this.
被告的第一修正案的权利。
Anything else you want to tell me?
还有什么要说的？
No,
Anything you want to say in closing, sir?
你在结语你还有什么要说的吗？
现在是我跟法官说，从早上到晚上，我从来不认识他们，也没有做过任何东西。
I say once more to the honor from this morning till now, I say I never know this lady.
这段话，这段话。
Read this sentence.
It's close.
And my clothing. Yeah, I need to wear my eyeglasses. They're
Okay.
very
One more.
fun.
All right. You gotta get his eyeglasses. I need my son. You try it. All right. I find myself doing that all the time. My eyeglasses.
，they take the advantage of the interrogatory. They take advantage of the interrogatory by super lawyer Tang Han, number 329671114. This you feel your most glory day, and to kill a chicken with a big knife.
What? Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Please, I don't know what is being said. I apologize. Please back up. Tell me the entire statement so that I can process it and this can be as closing. I
我
apologize.
不知道你读这个什么意思，你就还是把你要做个结语，你就有帮助我结案的结语，你要告诉我，就行了。
我从来没有做过任何的东西。
I never post anything like that.
I know there was a statement that you wouldn't have read. I just didn't process it. You were doing things at the same time. The interpreter was trying to interpret. It was distracting to me. I don't want you to not be able to give that last statement. If you think it is a powerful statement, I will listen to it.
我不是说都可以读那个，只是说呢，他一读的时候你要去讲，这有些干扰那如果你现在认为什么重要的，都帮助我结案的，你就可以尽量去讲。
You have my attention.
我不认识他们，我也不知道他们怎么找过来。
I do not know them. I do not know where they found this. They found me. How can they find me?
I'm sorry.
Listen. This wasn't dated, I'm sorry. When was this dated? These, it wasn't dated. I don't know if you told me when it was dated.
That was dated, that was in August 20th is my recollection on that.
Thank you. All right, give me 1 second. I'm almost ready to rule.
没有一点时间，我马上要裁决了。
All right. I'm ready to rule on this matter. Let the record reflect that this is the case of Demi Stiebel versus Stephen Taljan. Ma'am, this is your case. This is your opportunity to put forth evidence that you thought, by a preponderance of evidence, tends to show that he was doing one of two things. You had said threats, and you also had said harassing by your counsel. The counsel said the vehicle of that was these newer action of the statute for computer, electronic communication or interactive computer service. And that because of that, that is the reason why I should find that these things are harassing to you on assault occurred, because he was threatening you. Counsel also says, look at the language, it's so profane, toss your ass is what he said, that it can only mean one thing, that he is trying to be intimidating or threatening. And then last, one of the things that I got after you see is a picture of your daughter that you said he had posted that makes you think, oh my God, you know, he's now trying to attack my family so maybe get something done. So you said that's not true. You said, I don't even know them. Not only do I know them, I didn't send these things. Yeah, my phone number is on it, but anybody could put my phone number. That the exhibits that were provided to me, anybody could make changes to it and submit it to the court. There's no real hard evidence that it was actually me. I don't know these folks. I don't want nothing to do with these folks. And therefore, I should deny their word. So let's first start with knowing. I just have this one last interpreter case. I'll do it. Thank you very much.
You good?
I am. Do we have any no walk-ins work? Thank you.
My pleasure.
All right.
Sorry for that.
That's okay. Let me go back to my order. So let's start with the first thing. Okay, I know counsel has made arguments about prior restraint, constitutional analysis for these types of social media. You know, look, I think the Supreme Court's opinion is very clear. You have to have a threat. You have to have an action moving toward the threat that a reasonable person would think is would mean that somebody was getting threatened. I think that it happened after the Court of Appeals case. I like to try to take my instruction from the Supreme Court case when it's in point. And I'm hard to find in the actual prose threats. I think it's profane. But just because people say a lot of profane stuff doesn't mean they're threatening you. It just means they have a dirty mouth. All right? So I'm going to rely on the Supreme Court, and if somebody wants to appeal that, that's fine. Okay? Number two, the question is whether or not I think it actually came from you, sir. That is a factual submission I have to make of credibility. When you first came in, you said, Judge, the second time you came in after lunch, you said, Judge, I want to let you know that my behavior beforehand was misplaced because I'm angry. Because I'm angry at them bringing a charge against me. It's not how I normally are. I'm this respected individual who's going to law school. I'm sorry for my fever pitch. It is not who I am. Please don't attribute it to anything. And I thought that made sense. In the morning, sometimes I get a little grumpy. Right? You have lunch, you relax a little bit, you're not hangry anymore. And I will take you at your word. Except you did the exact same thing in the afternoon as you did in the morning. It wasn't about being mad and upset in the morning. You had a break in time. And you exhibited the same hostility that you did in the morning in the afternoon. As a judge, I'm able to tell not just what you say, but how you say it. And I get that different cultures talk to each other in a different way. My mom is an immigrant. I travel abroad all the time. I understand that. But this was vicious. You don't like her, and you know who she is. And the fact that you think that your phone number could have been inserted there, nah. You put it there, you sent it. It was you. I find out about preponderance of evidence. It was you sent it to her. Or you posted it, I should say. Okay? I don't think it's threatening. Oh boy, it's harassing. It is a course of conduct that you continue to do with each one of these. I haven't translated number 2. You were upset. And you wanted to let the community know that. And you continue to do it over and over again, even though that you know you should stop and want you to stop. So no, I don't find it threatening. I don't think we have any First Amendment right to it. I'm not making any determinations about that. But boy, this is harassing. And harassing is outside of the case outside of the Supreme Court. It was you harassed. I make findings against you. So I do find that harassment that occurred within the last 30 days. That's why I put the date at the end. I think it's likely to happen in the future. And the reason I think of that is because of the way you present it today. I can make that judgment based on what I saw today about whether or not it's likely to happen in the future. It's going to be in effect for 6 months, which is going to bring us to March 24th, 2019. So you can't do any of the actions of the statute of her, cannot contact her, also cannot enter her place of where she lives. Ma'am, does he know where you live?
Yes,
Yes.
he does. He public all the social
Because
media.
he published where you live on social media, correct? 472
West Indies.
Deming, right? Place, and that's all. And no contact means you cannot contact her, or you can't get anybody else to contact her. If somebody contacts her trying to do you a good favor, you may be the one that ends up in jail. So, you know. Best intentions or pave the road. Ma'am, do you work?
Yes.
Does he know where you work?
Hello.
It'll be
Public too.
excuse me?
Hello.
He knows where you work?
Yeah.
Yes, he
What is the name of the place where you work?
Cross and Brady, LLP.
Cross and Brady?
Yes.
It's Quarles, you want Q-U-A-R-E-L-S, the law firm.
Oh, yes. Quarles and Brady. Gotcha. All right. So you can't go to Quarles and Brady if you're looking to work or other lawyers. You can't go there.
根本不知道他是什么地方。
I do not know where she is.
And are you in school? Are you in school?
No.
Okay. All right. Any other requests that you made that I did not talk about?
任何你要求的东西，他们说的有吗？
No.
All right. Thank you very much. That's my order. So do you have any questions about what you cannot do? Sir?
I have one question.
6 months.
Yeah, 6个月，没问题。我不认识他。
March 24th.
3月24号。知道。没根本不认识他，都是
Then it won't be a problem complying. Thank you very much. All right.